Today we are going to talk about poetry, and we'll start by the subtopic stylistic devices. Under stylistic devices, we are going to look at another subtopic, imagery, and we'll start by asking ourselves, what is imagery? Imagery, it's a mental picture. When we say it's a mental picture, what do I mean? Let's say, for example, you want to describe to someone how your friend looks like. You can tell your friend about the complexion of your friend, the height of your friend, and your friend can have that mental picture of how your friend looks like. Or let's say, for example, you want to describe a building to your friend, and then you explain how it looks like, starting from the building, starting from the height of the building. Without your friend seeing the picture physically, it can be having that mental picture of how the buildings look like. That is what we call imagery. So we are going to look at the picture below. You can see it is a magician picture, and you can see the magician is flying on a carpet. Let's say, for example, I'm telling you of a story of a magician flying on his carpet. As I explained to you how the magician flies with the carpet and how the magician dresses, you can be able to have that mental picture in your mind even without seeing the magician physically. Why? I can give you the picture. You can see he's dressed in maroon and green dress. He's holding some ornaments, and you can see he's flying on a carpet. So that is what is called imagery. You don't need to see the picture, but you can see the picture in your mind without seeing the picture physically. So you can see the definition. How do we define an imagery? Imagery is the usage of a language that produces mental pictures in the mind of people reading or listening to an artistic art, such as narratives, riddles, poems, proverbs, etc. In Kiswahili, imagery is called taswira. So images include things like, 1, simile. And what is simile? We'll start by defining simile as a phrase that compares two things directly by use of words like or as. For example, when we say, her teeth are as white as snow, you can see we are comparing two things. That is the snow and the teeth. So that is what you call a simile. And you can see the words that I'm telling you, as. They show simile. So we are comparing her teeth to the whiteness of a snow. So it's a direct comparison. Her teeth are as white as a snow. So a simile, in short, is a direct comparison. And you can see the picture here of the teeth. You can see the teeth are so white, like a snow. So that is what we call direct comparison. So you can look for more examples of similes. For example, you can say, my father is as happy as a king. So you can see you're comparing the happiness of your father to a king, which is direct comparison. So come up with more similes. Look around where you come from. Look around your house and come up with similes. And we have said similes uses words like as and like. So we have another example of a simile. You can see the two people. One is so big, while the other one is so small. So when we compare these two people, when you look at their size, when we are comparing the two of them, it is called a simile. Why is it called a simile? We have said simile is direct comparison, and you can see the two fellas have been put side by side. One is so big, mountainous, while the other one is so skinny. So when you are comparing the two pictures, that's a simile, comparing two things directly. So the other imagery that we are going to look at is a metaphor. So metaphor is the opposite of simile. While we said simile is a direct comparison, metaphor is an indirect comparison. And so let us define what a metaphor is. A metaphor is a word or a phrase that compares someone or something indirectly. For example, she is an angel. When a girl is referred as an angel, what do we mean? She's not the real angel. But what we are trying to say is that the girl looks innocent. That's why we are referring to the pronoun she as an angel. Not that she's a physical angel, but we know that angels are so innocent. They don't harm people. They are so friendly. They are sent to bring blessing to people, so they don't harm people, so they are innocent. That's why we are comparing the pronoun she, looking innocent. So we are going to look at another example of a metaphor. And please don't forget what a metaphor is. A metaphor is an indirect comparison, while a simile is a direct comparison. So we have an example of another metaphor. You can see at the far end, we have a teddy bear. Well, on the other hand, we have a mother embracing her two children. Okay, geographically, we find that teddy bears are found on the northern pole. Why? Because they have this heavy wool. We know the northern pole is so cold. And so they cannot survive there without the wool. And we know our wool is very warm. So you can see the teddy bear is being compared to the mother indirectly. So you can see my mom is a teddy bear. So that's an indirect comparison. Why is the mother compared to the teddy bear? Because you can see the mother is embracing the children. You can see is protecting them with the warmth that she has. And also you can come up with your own metaphors. Let's say, for example, when you say, my father is a lion. Does it mean that your father looks like a lion? Not really. But you are comparing your father with a lion. Let's say maybe your father is a brave man, is a courageous man. So you are comparing him to a lion, but in real sense, your father is not a lion. So that's what we call a metaphor. So make sure you come up with your own example of metaphors. The other imagery we are going to look at is symbolism. What is symbolism? We are told symbolism involves presenting a physical object to stand for something that is abstract. Okay, what is abstract? As abstract is something that you cannot touch. You cannot see, but you can only feel it. Things like love. You can't touch love, but you can feel it. So that is an abstract noun. The same case, here we can see symbolism involves presenting a physical object to stand for something that is abstract, something that you cannot see. You can only feel it. And so we are going to look at an example of our flag, the flag of Kenya. It is symbolic. Why do we say it is symbolic? Because the colors symbolizes a lot. You can see our flag, which is very beautiful here. And as we know, it has 4 colors: black, white, red, and green. And we find that when we were defining a symbolism, we said it is something physical, standing for something abstract. You can see the flag Kenya, it is physical. But you can see the colors stand for something abstract. Let's say, for example, black stands for the black people, the citizen in our country. It stands for black people. What does the white color stand for? It stands for peace and harmony. What does the red color represent? It represents the blood that our forefathers shed when they were fighting for freedom during the Mau Mau time. When you look at green, it represents our vegetation, that our land is so fertile, especially when you go to Kericho, you see the green tea leaves. So it represents our vegetation. And then at the center or at the middle, you can see a shield. What does it mean? That us, as people of Kenya, we are ready to shield our country. We can never let it go back to the white people. We are ready to fight for our country. And so we are going to look at every color one by one. And so we are going to start with color black, which we are told symbolizes the skin color of Kenyan people. And you can see this very handsome black Moran. You can see he's representing us as Kenyan, our black skin, our very beautiful black skin. The other color that you are going to look at is red. And you can see red symbolizes the blood Kenyan shed during the struggle for independence. And you can see that picture. You can see that is blood that our forefathers shed when they were fighting for freedom in our country. That's why I always tell you we should learn to respect our forefathers, people like Jomo Kenyatta, Dedan Kimathi, Ochieng Oneko, because you can see what they did for us. The other color that you are going to look at is green. You can see we are told green symbolizes our green vegetation and the agricultural plants that are the backbone of this nation. And I'm sure all of you come from somewhere. Even though you stay in Nairobi, you have somewhere there back at the village, and I'm sure you have planted something. And when you look at your vegetation, they are green in color. So you can see here, the vegetation is so green. I tend to believe here is Kericho, which is very green. That's why we are always proud of our country, because you can see what we are doing for ourselves. Even we export our vegetation where we earn foreign exchange. So let's go to color white, which symbolizes peace. We live in peace, unity, and harmony in Kenya. That's why you can see, you can be able to accommodate your neighbor, though you don't come from the same tribe. Why? Because of peace. You can see the white color there, which represents peace. So the last type of imagery that we are going to look at is personification. What is personification? This is an expression that gives human or living quality to an object that does not have them in real life. So here it's giving something non-living, qualities of a living thing. Let's say, for example, we say the tree is dancing. We know that in our normal senses, a tree cannot dance. But we have given it the quality of a human being. That is personification. Even you can see from the name, you give that non-living thing qualities of a human being. You personify it. So we call it personification. Giving non-living things qualities of a living thing. Let's look at this picture first. You can see, we are told, the earth swallowed all my hopes. That is from Romeo and Juliet, and you can see the world swallowing this person's hope. In real sense, we know the earth cannot swallow anything because it is non-living. So you can see it has been given qualities of a living thing. It has been personified. Okay, so we have looked at the 4 imageries. The first one was a simile, and we have said simile is direct comparison. The second imagery was a metaphor, and we have said metaphor is an indirect comparison. The third type of imagery that we looked at, it was symbolism, whereby we say that what is symbolism is whereby something physical stands for something abstract. Let's say, for example, when we see a dove, we know that a dove represents peace. When you are given a red rose, we know it represents love. So that is symbolism. And the last imagery that we looked at was symbolism, whereby we said it is something non-living having qualities of a living thing. Like when we said the earth has swallowed all my hopes, you can see the earth has been personified. So I hope you have learned something. By this time, I hope you know what an imagery is. What have we said an imagery is? An imagery is a mental picture that is created in our minds. So by now, you should learn to appreciate poetry, because we have seen what really composes a poem. So in our next lesson, we are going to look at rhyme scheme, rhyme scheme and rhyme words, and we are going to look at both regular and irregular rhyme scheme. So before we meet in our next lesson, make sure you go and research, and you should be having a tangible information. You should be knowing what a regular rhyme scheme is and what an irregular rhyme scheme is. So make sure you go to your internet, look at the books, go to the library, ask your friend the difference between regular and irregular rhyme scheme. So we come to the end of our lesson, and I hope you look for more examples of metaphor, simile, personification, and symbolism. Let us meet in our next lesson.